Hello everyone, I am CA Rishita Motwani and today we are going to learn liquidity ratios amongst the financial ratios. What do you mean by a liquidity ratio? A liquidity ratio shows the company's ability to repay its short-term debt. So basically, it is the safety margin kept by the company while it has to repay its short-term current liabilities. And how do we calculate that? We calculate that with the help of current ratio, quick ratio, and operating cash flow ratio, as well as cash ratio and other ratios. So it when you get the answer is not in percentage, the answer is in times. That means how many times the company is having more than what it has to repay. So suppose I am saying the current ratio is 2. That means the company is having twice the capacity to repay. That is, the company is having the assets of 2 lakhs and it has to repay just 1 lakh. So the company has twice the amount of money it has to repay. Right? So when you get the answer below 1, what does that mean? When you get the answer below 1, that means that the company does not has the ability to pay. It would face liquidity issues at the time of repaying. But if the answer is above 1, that means the company has a better standing in order to meet its liabilities. Fair? So let's begin with understanding what is current ratio. Current ratio is basically calculated by dividing current assets with current liabilities. What are current assets? Current assets are any assets which changes in a span of 1 year. So suppose I am saying, okay, let's take this laptop. What is this laptop? This laptop is what? This laptop is fixed asset for me, right? So after you, suppose you come after 6 months, what would happen? If you come after 6 months, this laptop would be with me because this is fixed asset for me, right? But suppose you go to the laptop vendor after 6 months, would you get the same laptop? Probably no. Why? Because that laptop is current asset for that vendor. It's stock. He is using the laptop for the purpose of reselling. I'm using the laptop for the purpose of my work. So current assets, definitely a company. What would happen in an organization, in an entity? What would happen? Inventory would keep on changing, datas would keep on changing. Obviously, you're not going to find the same inventory after a span of 1 year. You're not going to find the same datas after a span of, if this year I have to take money from person A, at the year end I have to take the money from person B, because from person A I already received my money. It's not going to carry forward till 1 year or more. So current assets and current liabilities changes in less than 1 year of span of time. And so what do you mean by current assets? Basically all those assets, the main assets covered under current assets are data, inventories, cash and cash equivalents, and all the short-term investments and the prepaid expenses. In current liabilities, we have creditors, outstanding expenses, which are generally repaid in a span of 2 to 4 months here and there, and all the short-term debts, like the working capital debt which the company has took for a very short period of time, that is for less than 1 year. Yeah, so let's suppose current assets is 7 lakhs or 7,000, current liabilities is 5,000. So the ratio I will get is 1.4. What does this ratio mean? Right? Interpretation is very important. application of the ratio or any formula is very, very important, not just learning the formula. So the application, the interpretation is that the organization is having 1.4 times the money of what it has to repay. So when you get the answer 1.4, that means the company is having 1.4 times the money, that is more than 1. So when you get the answer more than 1, that means the company is comparatively stable and has comparatively liquid assets to repay its liabilities. So here you cannot say higher the better. Why? Because there is a possibility. So here the moderate the better would work. The ideal seems to be 2:1. That is, you have twice the amount of assets of your liabilities. Twice the amount of current assets of your current liabilities. To be very specific. That means you are the company is very stable, because even if someone defaults, the company still has twice the amount. Right. When I say 1:2, that means company has the asset of 1 lakh, but it has to repay 2 lakh. That means the ratio would come to 0.5. That means anything less than 1. So when you get anything less than 1, that means what? The company is going to face liquidity issues to meet its liabilities. The company is not having as much money as much it is having its liabilities. The company is not having as much assets as much as it is having its liabilities. What about 1:1? So 1:1 will be very cut to cut. The company is having the exact amount of funds, but what would happen in 1:1? If someone defaulted in current assets, the company would default to its payment. So what about 3:1, 4:1? Do you feel it is better? Do you feel higher the better? No, because suppose, for example, I am saying, okay, there are two companies. This is having debtors 4. This is having debtors, let's say 1. Okay, this is having debtors 4. This is having debtors 1, and both are making sales of 10 lakhs. What would you say? Which company is better, A or B? What would you think? A is better or B is better? Yes, A is better or B is better? Obviously, B is better. Why? Because the sales are same, 10 lakh and 10 lakh, but the amount of money which is stuck in debtors, right? Because it's our money blocked, right? It's the working capital invested by the business. So here, the working capital of the business, the money stuck is 4 lakhs, and I'm getting the sale of 10 lakh. Here also my sales is same, 10 lakh, but my money blocked is just 1 lakh. Right? So that we would also cover in debtors turnover ratio. But yeah, obviously here the company B is better, because with the less amount of data stuck, it's able to generate more amount or equal amount of sales. And that's what here in current ratio, same thing would apply. If the assets are very much more, like if the assets are 4-5 times of its current liabilities, then it is unnecessary blockage of funds. Then the company is not able to utilize its funds efficiently. In the case of company B, the company B has used its funds in the most efficient manner, invested minimum and getting good amount of sales. So this was all about current ratio.